Imagine waking up tomorrow morning expecting another ordinary day. You check the time, grab your phone, and walk toward the window. But the moment you look outside, something feels terribly wrong. The sun is frozen in the sky. Birds have completely disappeared. There isn't a single breeze. Your phone suddenly vibrates with hundreds of emergency alerts. Every TV channel interrupts its programs with the same unbelievable headline: Earth has stopped spinning. At first you laugh because it sounds impossible. Then the ground begins to shake. Car alarms start screaming across the city. People run into the streets without knowing what they're running from. Within seconds, the impossible becomes terrifyingly real. But here's the question that almost nobody asks. If Earth stopped spinning right now, would you actually notice it immediately? The answer is yes, but not for the reason you think. At this very moment, you're traveling through space at nearly 1,670 kilometers per hour, faster than many commercial airplanes. The strange part is that you can't feel it, because everything around you is moving at exactly the same speed. Your house, your car, the air, the oceans, even the coffee sitting on your table are all moving together. It's like sitting inside a perfectly smooth airplane. You don't feel the speed because everything is moving with you. But if the Earth suddenly stopped, your body wouldn't. According to the laws of physics, your body would continue moving at the same speed while the ground beneath you stopped instantly. Imagine driving a car at full speed and crashing into a solid wall without wearing a seatbelt. Now imagine that happening to almost every person on Earth at once. Cars would become deadly projectiles. Trains would leave their tracks. Buildings would tear apart. Even massive trees could snap like tiny sticks. Entire cities could be destroyed before people even understood what had happened. And if you think that's the worst part, you're about to discover something far more terrifying. Because humans aren't the only things moving with Earth's rotation. The atmosphere is moving too. The very air you're breathing right now is racing around the planet at the same incredible speed. So what happens when the ground suddenly stops? But the atmosphere doesn't. That's where the real nightmare begins. The moment the ground stops, the atmosphere keeps moving. And that's when the planet turns into something no human has ever experienced. Imagine standing outside as a wall of air slams into the Earth at nearly 1,670 kilometers per hour. That's faster than the speed of sound. This wouldn't feel like a hurricane. It would feel like the entire sky had become a weapon. Buildings would be ripped apart. Steel structures could bend. Windows would explode before you even heard the sound. Cars would fly through the air like toys. Airplanes wouldn't stand a chance. Within minutes, cities across the world could become fields of debris. But here's something even more terrifying. The air wouldn't just destroy everything in its path. It would carry countless pieces of concrete, metal, glass, and trees at unbelievable speeds. Every object would become a deadly projectile. Simply being outside for a few seconds could be fatal. And while people were desperately trying to survive the winds, another disaster would already be on its way. The oceans. Right now, every ocean on Earth is moving with the planet's rotation. If the Earth suddenly stopped, the water wouldn't stop with it. Billions of tons of seawater would continue rushing forward because of momentum. Imagine a tsunami. Now forget everything you've ever seen about tsunamis, because this would be on a completely different scale. Giant walls of water could sweep across coastlines, swallowing ports, highways, airports, and entire cities in a matter of minutes. New York, Tokyo, Mumbai, Rio de Janeiro, Sydney, Shanghai, London, Los Angeles, and countless other coastal cities could face catastrophic flooding. Millions of people would have almost no time to escape. Satellite images of Earth would begin to look completely different as coastlines changed forever. But even if you somehow survived the winds and escaped the oceans, your fight for survival would only be beginning. Because the disaster wouldn't end after a few hours. In many ways, it would only be getting started. The real horror would begin when the planet settled into its new reality. A reality with no normal sunrise, no normal sunset, and a world where half of humanity would face endless daylight, while the other half disappeared into endless night. And that single change would transform Earth into a planet almost impossible to recognize. Now imagine looking up at the sky days later. The sun is still there, refusing to move. Hours pass, then days, then weeks, but daylight never ends. On the other side of the planet, millions of people haven't seen sunlight even once. Earth has lost its natural rhythm. One half of the world is slowly baking under constant sunlight, while the other half is freezing in endless darkness. Temperatures on the sunlit side would continue rising until rivers began to dry up. Forests turned into ash, and farmland became too hot to grow food. Meanwhile, the dark side would become colder every day. Lakes would freeze, rivers would disappear beneath thick layers of ice. Entire landscapes could transform into frozen deserts where almost nothing could survive. But here's the strangest part. Between these two deadly worlds, there might be a narrow band where temperatures remain suitable for life. Scientists sometimes call this the twilight zone. It would become the last hope for humanity. Imagine billions of people trying to reach the same small region. Roads would be jammed. Borders would become meaningless. Food, clean water, medicine, and electricity would become more valuable than gold. Governments would struggle to maintain order as millions searched for a place where life was still possible. Yet another invisible disaster would already be unfolding. Earth's weather depends on the planet's rotation. Winds, ocean currents, and rainfall all work together to keep climates stable. Without that balance, many familiar weather patterns would change dramatically. Some regions could face extreme drought, while others might experience relentless storms. Crops would fail across vast areas, wildlife would lose their habitats, and ecosystems that took millions of years to develop could begin collapsing. Humanity wouldn't just be fighting nature anymore. It would be fighting for the future of civilization itself. But before you panic, there's something incredibly important to know. Scientists do not expect Earth to suddenly stop spinning. There is no known natural process capable of bringing our planet to an instant halt. This entire scenario is a scientific thought experiment, designed to help us understand just how extraordinary our planet really is. Every sunrise you see, every gentle breeze you feel, and every normal day you experience depends on Earth's constant rotation. It's happening every second, at incredible speed, yet we never notice it. Maybe the greatest miracle isn't that Earth is spinning through space at over 1,600 kilometers per hour. Maybe the greatest miracle is that it does so with such perfect stability that it feels completely still. And perhaps that's the most amazing secret of our planet. The very thing keeping all of us alive is something we almost never think about. But what if I told you that Earth doesn't actually spin at the exact same speed forever? Every single day, our planet slows down by an incredibly tiny amount. It's only about a few milliseconds every century, so small that you'll never notice it during your lifetime. But over millions of years, those tiny changes slowly add up. The moon is one of the biggest reasons for this. Its gravity creates ocean tides, and those tides act like a gentle brake, stealing a tiny amount of Earth's rotational energy. Billions of years ago, a single day on Earth lasted only about 6 hours. Dinosaurs experienced days that were shorter than ours, and hundreds of millions of years from now, a day on Earth will actually be longer than 24 hours. That's how slowly our planet is changing. So yes, Earth is slowing down, but so gradually that life has plenty of time to adapt. A sudden stop, the terrifying disaster we've imagined throughout this video, is something scientists do not expect to happen. It remains one of the most fascinating thought experiments in science because it reveals how perfectly balanced our world really is. Every sunrise, every season, every ocean current, and every breath we take depends on Earth's continuous rotation. If that motion disappeared in an instant, the world we know would vanish with it. The next time you wake up and watch the sun rise over the horizon, remember that you're standing on a giant rock, nearly 13,000 kilometers wide, spinning through space at incredible speed, while orbiting the sun at about 107,000 kilometers per hour. Somehow, despite all that motion, it feels perfectly still. Maybe the greatest mystery isn't what would happen if Earth stopped spinning. Maybe the real mystery is how this incredible planet has remained so beautifully balanced for billions of years. And if one simple movement can make the difference between a living world and a dead one, it makes you wonder, what other invisible forces are protecting life on Earth right now? Because sometimes the most important things in the universe are the ones we never notice.